Welcome to Life and Stories. I have a very dear friend of mine, Ritesh Randhare. He's from India. So, really excited to talk to him after years. I think just a year back, I happened to talk to him on a direct Facebook video call, wherein he was very surprised and but we were equally happy that we are at least talking after no matter how many days or years it has been. But I was really happy to connect with him after so long. And of course, theme of Life and Stories this time is self-awareness and a journey, I would say, from outside to inside, right? What makes you what you are? So I could think nobody apart from Ritesh, because he has been an inspiration to me, and he has right from being I would say fashion icon since the days we were in our what we call higher secondary 11th 12th standard till date. I do not have my heads turned to any celebrity, but I will definitely have my heads turned to Ritesh. What is he posting? What is he doing? Where is he going? Like, for me, he's an head turner. So I would say, guys, not only studies, as a soul, he's the most kind soul, I would say, that I have ever come across, and I'm really blessed that I have a friend like him. I'll just share a small story. So there was a situation wherein I'm sure I'll have Ritesh will ask me to cut this one, but there was a situation wherein I got a call on my birthday from a very close friend, and he asked me, "Tanvi, jaldi se aaja, ek urgent काम है." I was like, "क्या ऐसा क्या काम होगा, right?" And I just came. I just went to his place, and he's like, "थोड़ा सा money है. I was thinking कि I'll buy something for your birthday." I was like, buy something for your birthday और money है तो ये इतना conscious क्यों हो रहा है? So the reason for the consciousness was कि जो source of money था, that was not the ideal source. So he had his dearest grandma who left his body, and she had some stuff with her in his her box, huge box, and that was his kindness. I mean, I don't know how can anybody even think about this, but he was thinking how can he make my birthday special with like some money which is there, and I was really touched with that thought. I really am touched till date, Ritesh. I remember that 35, people used to call me Battis in my 11th 12th standard, just because I was gifted this beautiful jacket from him, and I really have the image of that jacket with me still today. So all in all, like a really person, you would always want to have in your life at least once who is always there for you. Really good person in studies. He was one of the intelligent folks who get admission only in some of the reputed I would say tuitions, and professors who would love to have him. So a lot of things, but I really want, Ritesh, this time to be your time. I want you to share your journey. Right now, I think you are in US. So one of the efforts that we are doing as part of this platform, Life and Stories, is definitely expose our Indian students who are very much motivated to go to the outside countries. So how motivating is it, really you being I really want to understand your Nagpur to US journey, and this will cover everything whatever you feel you want to share with this forum, so that we can bring your exposure to others to help them out. So over to you, Ritesh. I'll take a pause. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, hi Tanvi, hi everyone. I think that was a great introduction that Tanvi gave. I think she over exaggerated. I'm not that awesome, but I mean, if she says it, I believe her. Um, yeah, so I mean, it's a great question, right? So, I would start with why did I choose to come to the US? What what was it that I was seeking, right? So, as everybody knows, like it's been hundreds of years in India. We know how our country has progressed in terms of little things or big things like sexuality, for example, right? Women rights and all these like social issues, they still exist today. My thinking was that I wanted to explore myself in the US because obviously I knew that in the US, being who you are is like it's a whole different country. It's a whole different vibe, right? So you can be free. You can be free to explore what you really are. What happened to me was I love India, there's no doubt about it, but I was not able to express myself completely. Um, for example, even when I was in college with Tanvi, right? Like I used to get bullied a lot. Like people used to call me names, and I had to like behave a certain way. Behave. Sorry, I just hope nobody's taking this meeting room. So I was expected to behave a certain way. So there was this like track that I had to follow. So like be manly, talk in a manly voice. Don't play women's games, which I used to love. I used to love playing like Ghar Ghar and Lagori and all that, right? But I was always presented by the society that I should be doing this and I should not be doing this. Like if I want to wear something, it has to be a certain way. If I want to talk about something, it has to be a certain way. So since my childhood, I have lived that life of being somebody that I'm not. And as I became older, I started feeling a little bad about it, and I felt like, what am I doing? Why am I acting according to the people around me, right? At the same time, I also knew what is going on around in the world, not just India. I was studying about it. I was watching things on TV and internet, and I got to know that other countries don't really face a lot of what I was facing, right? It was way ahead of our times. So I was like, you know what? In order for me to explore myself, it's not possible to do that in Nagpur. And this is again 12, 13 years ago. Now, definitely things have changed, right? So I was like, let's go to the US. I also wanted to pursue my master's. So it was like Sone pe Suhaga. Like I wanted the education system also, which is really good here in terms of masters. Like in India, there's no, I couldn't find anywhere where I can get masters in computer science at that point. So I made my way through that, um, came here, and I started just exploring myself. I was just out there, talking to people freely, wearing what I want. It took me 5, 6 years to become what I currently am, I guess, not even close. But it took me, even in this country, it took me 5, 6 years just to know that I can be myself, that there is no shame. And yeah, first 1 or 2 years, I was still hiding. I was hiding my sexuality. I was acting like how I used to in India, so my roommates and people around me would not, like judge me. But then I met really cool people, really nice people from whom I learned that there is nothing wrong to be yourself, and whoever doesn't like it, they can go. It's not like they're not obligated to stay in life. And in the end, it's just the true ones who really support and like you for who you are that matter. This I did not understand back home because I was just not being myself, and I was so scared to even tell you, Tanvi. Like I could have just told you in 11 that Tanvi, I'm not feeling this. Like I don't like women. I am not. मुझे attraction नहीं है. What should I do? But I never could even tell you. And you're one of my best friends, right? Since like I don't even know how long ago, but I couldn't even tell you, right? So yeah, so staying in the US, I think meeting all these people, it was a journey for me to finally reach where I am today. So today I have no shame. I wear whatever I want. Um, all the important people in my life, which is obviously my friends, my family, they know about it. They totally agree with it. There is no one stopping me to do whatever I want, whether it's on social media or in the office, or when I even go for lunch or at bars or nightclubs. So I guess I've just reached from where I was back home to where I was supposed to be, which is today here. And I think it was a personality growth for me. It could have been completely different if I never moved here, right? If, let's say, I was in Nagpur, I was struggling with my own emotions for these 10 years, I probably would have succumbed to it and married a woman, which would not have been okay because that was never me. That could have never been me. 20 years later, 30 years later, I probably would have left that life, or done something crazy. So I'm very happy that I got out of the societal pressure and was brave enough to explore life on my own terms and just be happy and content with it right now. I talk a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. I think that was
So,
firstly, thank you so much, Dish, for being open. That is one of the key things
yeah.
we are really wanting people to be when on this forum, at least. Because, yeah, I mean, this is the exact reason why I wanted life and stories as something. It was there in my head since years, but I didn't knew how to execute it. Right. So,
Yeah.
thanks to like people like you who are open. I mean, COVID times, we don't even know when we'll be there or until when we are there or we won't be. So if you are open enough to share your journey in a way like this, I think
Hmm.
definitely this is going to help a lot of people. We might feel like it really doesn't impact like anybody, but I'm sure the moment like people start watching this, they will at least understand it's okay to be yourself. And as you said, like you were not even comfortable to share that with me, and I'm really sorry, but I was I don't know, like I couldn't even understand that side
Yeah.
back then.
We
Like
were
we
not
were not
exposed back then
educated.
to any of this. Yeah.
Yes, I feel, Ritesh, we were not even educated to understand human beings. Forget about other things in our lives. I
Yeah.
think that should be first thing we should educate in a school. Okay, there's a male, there's a female. There is also certain like mindsets that people have. This mindset, which make a individual stand differently. It is okay. It is just a different person. It is not something which is like alien to earth, or which is something not acceptable by the society. So I think it's really important um, that people should first of all like watch this video. They should really feel that like definitely go to outside countries, not because of only studies and stuff, but yeah, one of the other angles or flavors that you added is because you thought you will be more independent or like more comfortable there. So maybe
Yeah.
we can do few things which will make you comfortable even you're back in India like for
Exactly.
whatever time
Yeah.
period, like even
And it
if you
has
are here
changed
for a
now.
week
Like
or a
over
month.
the last 10
Right.
years, it has changed a lot um,
Awesome.
in India too. So,
So, Ritesh, do you want to like share something like how do you think people who are currently, I'm sure there might be certain set of people who are currently facing the same situation that you are in, how we can help them so that they can at least know few people whom they can talk to, because that time we didn't even knew that even as best friends we can talk to each other. What can be, I mean, a gap more than this, that friends are not comfortable to talk to each other because we in our minds we feel so there's something not good, there's something which is not right.
mhm.
So who has
Right.
taught us what is right, what is wrong? There is something which is natural, that's the only truth. There is nothing which
Yep.
is right or wrong. I mean, at least we should have that liberty. So what do you suggest, how can we avoid people who are currently maybe go back to the rocket science, go back to 11, 12 in that side, like how can we educate students in school, right in school, that like if you have a friend who's like maybe they don't even know as we didn't knew like
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
about this side. So how do you think we can like really try to correct this somewhere to the best we can do?
So, I mean, I can only speak based on my experience, right? So, even for me, it was very tough. And I still know a lot of friends, a lot of people back in India and over here who are still not ready to tell anyone. Obviously, they have told me because they know I'm like out in public, you know. So I would just say sometimes we build up walls in our head. Like even I thought that I cannot tell mom, oh my God, they're gonna have a heart attack, or like I just cannot, they're gonna disown me, you know. छोड़ घर से निकाल देंगे पता नहीं क्या होगा दीदी तो समझेगी नहीं उनके relatives इतने सारे we have so many relatives and society around us that we just feel like there is no way I can come out, right? um I felt like that for a long time, but the fact that there are parents, there are family, immediate family, right? Brother, sister, mom, dad, immediate family. I was like, let's try. Try from somebody who's very close to you. If you have a sibling that you think will understand, try to convey this to them, right? That's how I did it. It was first my sister, then it was my dad, and the last was my mom because I'm more close and the closest to my mom. And you know what? Surprisingly, I had built up this image in my head that it's not gonna work, but I gave it a try. And the end result was completely different. They're like, you are our son. There is nothing that can stop us from loving you. And then I was like, oh my God. My mom was like, why did you not tell me all these years? I'm like, mommy, because I thought that you cannot take it, because even though you're a very strong woman, when you hear something about like this about your child, I thought you'll like break down. And she's like, no, are you crazy? Like, you're my son. I had you for 9 months in my stomach. Like, there is nothing that you cannot tell me. So, and I was
Awesome.
really happy. And then that gave me a lot of confidence. Sometimes I would just say we build up things in our head when it's actually in reality is not like that. Our parents, our siblings, our elder people, they have more experience than us. They understand all these emotions and feelings, even though they're not exposed to it, right? So I would say, see, look around you, see who you feel most comfortable. It could be a cousin, it could be your friend, it could be your sister, brother, whoever. Start, like, you have to be brave. You have to be brave. B, find that person that you think you can share. Have a nice conversation for 2 hours, 3 hours, cry it out, tell them how you feel, let it out of your system. Okay. Second thing is, once you start getting that kind of approval and acceptance, it's time to educate. So I'm still educating everyone that I know that they were not okay with all of this, right? Whether it's mom and dad coming to the US, me taking them to places, um, sending, like things like pride events, sending them what is pride about, when is it celebrated, what does a rainbow mean, what is, in my office, we have a LGBTQ community group which is supporting anybody for work. You don't have to be of a certain gender or sexual orientation to work in a company, right? So spreading awareness, taking them to places, sending articles, and just it takes time. Slowly, they start understanding that there is things like this that exist in the world. It's not like, oh my God, you cannot. This is unnatural, and you should be punished, and we can't do this. And हम तो नहीं कर सकते बेटा. हम हमारे तो खानदान में ऐसा कभी हुआ नहीं है. And you know what? I was ready to take that too. I was like, if I'm left alone, at least I will be satisfied and happy. Yeah, I'll be in pain for the rest of my life, but I will not be somebody that I am not and destroy somebody else's life by marrying someone that I should not marry and force and fake myself. But I would also say there is certain times when your family is very weak, when they're medically ill, or you think that they cannot take a shock like this. I would say, if you are facing something like that you think it's a really bad idea to tell them, just tell somebody very close to you. And India has progressed a lot right now. It's not like you have to go to London, you have to go to US. You can still live happily, freely, maybe a little secretly, but I think it's still possible. So as long as you tell somebody and you're not faking it to yourself, I would say. Yeah.
Again, I
So
think this there cannot be a better example than for my theme about being self-aware, a journey from outside to inside. So like, as I understand before, Ritesh, it was more like, okay, what society wants, what the outside world wants is what I'm trying to portray myself as. And I think
yeah.
half of your life you did that. I am myself feeling so suffocating right now. But like, hats off to you that you took a stand for yourself, and today you are like, what you are. You are not really what the society wants or what the outside world wants, and this has really raised the respect that I had for you. And like, thank you so much for just sharing, being so open
No, of
again, and
course.
sharing
Yeah.
like on this forum.
Yeah.
And Ritesh, like, one more thing. So like, society, right? One of the things that you have been touching is like, you spoke about family. Maybe that is still a easier side for us, because we
Yeah.
have in our minds, maybe the outside world is really good to us, but we have in our mind certain things which are there, which we are afraid about for no reason, right? So you could overcome that barrier about talking to your family, being open there. But when it comes to society, like, do you feel there is slightly different way? Do you think something we can add, maybe one small chapter into our books, wherein people understand that there are different kind of people? So it is okay to have this thing, because if society is not educated, Of course they will also be in a, I don't know how to describe that, but that's the reason they are not able to accept certain things. We know a color is white, we know a color is black, so that's why we accept it. But when we don't know, there are few things, how can we even accept it? And we cannot expect this to, for people who have lived their lives, like whole lives, like 60, 70 years, and we are suddenly accepting that, think pink is blue. We cannot accept that it's really mad for them. So what do you think, any, step that we can take which will really help the society also to mature, right? I
Right.
understand you've already said, legally
Yeah.
we are matured, but any other thoughts? Yeah.
Well, I think first of all, in our education system, we don't mention anything about society, right? It's like math, science, this, that, reproduction, and all that. I think society is something that has been created in every country, every religion, every culture based on thousands of years, hundreds of years of a certain pattern, right? So, for example, our society is totally based on our Indian culture that goes back in like Raja Maharani ke zamane se, right? So a guy has to marry a girl, and then they create baches, and then the girl is supposed to be a little semi with ghungat and all that. That has been carried on for ages, which is slowly starting to change now. So I think it's not going to change completely in my or your lifetime, Tanvi. Like, we'll be old and died, and then maybe it starts to go a little far from where we are now. So I would just say, um, I don't think you can change 1.3 billion or 1.6 million people. All you can do is just tell yourself that this is how it is going to be. Um, you try to change it a little bit in your own ways if you want to. For example, when I'm on Instagram, when I'm on social media, right, I do get a lot of hatred. The kind of comments I get, you don't even know. But there is also comments that I get like, oh my God, because of you, today I had the guts to wear something and then go out. Thank you so much for motivating me. That to me is, if at least one or two people are changing how they think, they can start spreading that around them. And I don't think it can be completely changed, but efforts can be made. You can be happy and satisfied that you are doing what you want. If your neighbor in your hometown, or if your mom and dad are going to a wedding surrounded by society, if you don't think about them, I think it just makes it easier for you. And लोग तो बोलेंगे ही ना, उनका तो काम ही बोलना है, लाइक आज वो कल बोलेंगे, और तुमने शादी नहीं की तो भी बोलेंगे. So like, there is nothing that can stop society and people from commenting on your life. But after a point, it just doesn't matter to you anymore. If it matters to you, then you're going to do what they want you to do. If it doesn't matter to you, you do what you want to do, and they'll still talk. So I don't think there is any difference. But yes, it's a little tough again in India, because we have so many heavy pressures around society, right? I'll just give a small example. Even today, when my mom and dad go to any wedding in Nagpur or wherever, lot of people ask like, "Oh, so what about Ritesh?" Like, they're like, he doesn't want to marry right now. That's the answer. And they're like, okay, maybe they gossip behind our back, like, oh, इनके बेटे को तो शादी नहीं करनी, पता नहीं वहां पे कुछ होगा, ये होगा, वो होगा. They gossip for a little bit, and then they're like, you know what, it's none of a concern. So people who gossip will always gossip, now, like, you can't stop them. But to bring a change in the society, A, you have to not care a lot about what they think, and B, somehow in your own ways, start um, confidently spreading and educating things around people around you, to people around you, right? Like, now I'm talking to you. This is my way of bringing even 1% change in whoever is watching this video, and that they could pass it along, and somehow at least we can have 100, 200 people who think that a change can be made. And yeah, I don't know.
Thank you, Ritesh. There's another thing that is still troubling me is like, how about the emotional? I mean, how did you manage with your studies? See, like, even this little thing that happens as kids or as not kids, people in your teens, we were in hardly in our teens, right? And you had, apart from studies, wherein we are already competing with the world, how could you manage this? like wasn't, because you never shared, so you already had this piled up here. So how could you make sure you're on track with your studies? You cracked your, like, 11 12, you cracked your engineering, you are a
Hmm.
master in computer science, it's a big deal. So
Hmm.
how could you really cope up with this?
I think I just try to keep it separate. When you have your
Awesome.
goals, when you want to reach somewhere, that for me was a completely different journey. I never let anything affect my work and my studies. My personal struggle was my personal struggle. But when I was studying or when I go to work, I switch on at 9 a.m. and I switch off at 5 p.m. You know, I try to do it that way. Like, I don't let it affect. Of course, it does affect somehow. You want to like have a bottle of vodka or a glass of drink and cry and then talk to a friend. But it was also for me, it did not interfere with my professional and academic life, because a lot of it was at stake, right? I came from India, so there was a lot of money invested in it. I was also exploring my identity and my personality, so I was getting both the things together, so I had to keep going in both directions. So education, work, these are all the things that make you independent also. It's not just being you who you are, right? If you can't feed yourself, if you can't wear whatever you want, if you can't travel wherever you want, um, that is, I mean, I think it's a very important thing to be independent and do what you want and be who you want. So that to me always went hand in hand. So, studying, making friends at work, going out with them, sharing my experiences, getting to know stuff, that was also a part of it. So I just try to enjoy everything. So I guess once you're free, once you're open, it automatically makes you more interested in the outside world,
Awesome.
which also involves academics and universities and studying. So
Cool. So,
sorry, my
I mean,
Apple
like,
Watch.
otherwise we feel that we have a lot of stress in our lives, and, like, we never knew this side of it. And I'm really surprised, like, how you manage with all the emotional turbulence that would have been there in your head, and still you, like, kept up with your academics and everything. So I think it's indeed a great inspiration again. So thank you so much, Ritesh. I think I'll just, like, take your help to maybe take some baby steps to see how we can make our journeys right from studenthood to, like, where we are like in corporates, big corporates working now. So how to make a life of people smoother, because definitely your sharing is going to help them. So definitely I will look forward for few things from you, wherein we, as you said, we will do something from our side which will help these people to come forward, at least help these people to be what they really want to be, and not really like pretend what others want them to be. So thank you so much, Ritesh, for all your time. I know right now, like, you are in a, like, work environment, and
Yeah.
you were like so ready to share this time with me. So people, thank you so much for, like, watching this. This was a very very important topic, I would say. Me and Ritesh, we have never spoken about this sensitive topic in this detail. I think he's been really kind for sharing all his experiences with the whole world here. So thank you, Ritesh, for being on Life and Stories for the theme, which is self awareness, a journey from outside to inside. So thank you so much for being yourself. Huge respect.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tanvi.
Ritesh.
It was amazing. Yeah, and I would just say closing notes, just life is beautiful, guys. Enjoy it. And yeah, it's beautiful.